The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, Graham Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast. Hello, Anna. Hello, T-Duck and James and Coach Turner, who are in already. How you doing this morning? It's Feelgood Friday. Whoa! So let's see how much, even more fun. You know, it's been a serious week, hasn't it, on the Good Morning Portugal show? We're very straight-laced and professional from Monday to Thursday. And then we get off the chain on a Friday. Actually, it's like that all week, isn't it? But let's see how much further we can go on this Friday morning and have even more fun today. Fantastic input. Thank you from you, top producer T-Duck. The dad jokes are really very, very good this morning. So thank you for those. We have... well, what we'd like to do, Mrs. M, I thought was going to join us from the beginning of the show. She has been distracted somewhere in the house, but she will be with me to talk about the three steps towards successful migration. Now, the funny thing about this, the successful migration model that we've come up with, is that we think it's quite a good approach to life in general. And you know you're onto something, don't you, when wisdom is transferable, if I even dare call it wisdom. But I think it's a good test of any theory. Oh, and I've missed out an apostrophe there. Ticker tape. See if you could spot the missing apostrophe on the ticker tape. No prizes. You just get the pleasure and pride of knowing that you spotted a grammatical mistake on the ticker tape this morning. And some people really like that. Some people get a lot of benefit and pleasure from that. But yeah, when you know you're onto something, when a truth, or maybe that's the definition of a truth, something that doesn't change and works ubiquitously, universally. So let's see if my claim about our three steps towards successful migration stands up to that test at around 9 o'clock this morning. And then, of course, the eye-wateringly biggest phone in Europe. Help us create that. Call in this morning, if you will, on 00351, the country code for Portugal, of course. Not many people use that, do they? It'd be quite a good... a little company name, wouldn't it? 351 for anything to do with Portugal. 913-590-303. I wish I hadn't said that out loud now and given away a massive entrepreneurial idea that's going to make me really successful and rich by this time next year. We didn't look too much or in too great a depth. Oh, it was Italy that got hidden yesterday in International Living's survey of the best countries to live in the world, which included, of course, Portugal at number 1. Number 2 was Mexico, Panama number 3, Ecuador at 4, Costa Rica at 5. With so many American friends, I start to say things in an American way. In Great Britain, it would be Costa Rica. I think in people who say Porto might say Costa Rica. And number 6, Spain, our neighbors. France, kind of neighbors on the other side of Spain at number 8. 7, Greece. Some great... Actually, when we're doing our European phone-in, we need to get people calling in, don't we, to see how they feel about being at number 9, Italy, number 8, France, number 7, Greece, and number 6, Spain, all the European countries in that top 10. And Thailand, of course, when hanging out with expats, as I often do, Thailand does come up as an option to go and live in a lovely place. But it's a long way away, isn't it? I think that's what separates Thailand and Portugal, for example. Those Brits who are thinking of moving elsewhere, like Portugal, because you can get back to Blighty fairly quickly. Not the case necessarily if you go and live in Thailand. A much bigger psychological difference. The shuffling and banging you can hear on... Who doesn't like a bit of banging first thing in the morning on the other side of the desk? Mrs. M adjusting her lighting and other production accoutrement this morning. I can turn you up sound wise before I put... Do you want to speak to everybody before you actually appear on the screen? That'd be exciting, wouldn't it? Oh no, I unplugged that light so we could put the printer in.
That's okay. Hello, everyone.
Behind the scenes. Are you ready to be on screen now?
I need some sound.
You have got... Oh, I need to turn your headphones up. You've got sound, you just can't hear it. There you go.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Okay, she's got sound. Would you like visuals as well?
Why
Are
not?
you ready for visuals?
Let's do that.
Oh,
Hello.
look at you, a vision of beauty. Oh, I can get to look at you twice. That's what's made my morning so wonderful. I get to see you twice, once
Bless
on the
you.
screen and in real life across the double monitors of the busy production room that is Good Morning Portugal, the studio.
And likewise.
Tudo bem? Como estás?
Bem.
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 Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not really in my right head at the minute. I'm just kind of coming to
Oh, I
after
see.
a really
Right, okay.
good and deep sleep.
Oh, so you slept well last night?
Yeah, I
have to say
did.
I did as well. Yeah, a few things that keep me from a good sleep. I'm
I've never known you not to have a good night's sleep.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? With all the trials and tribulations, slings and arrows that life might throw,
My goodness, yes.
tend to have a decent night's sleep, don't I?
Yeah, I tell you what, Horlicks, or I don't know what Horlicks is in American.
Well, when
brand.
you say Horlicks out loud like that, some people will be, what? What is she? If they're not familiar with that brand, because it's not a very pleasant sounding name, is it?
No, it's not.
Horlicks.
Yeah. It's
Probably wouldn't happen today.
It's there's an advertising campaign in the UK, and there's this malted drink called Horlicks, and it's a brand.
Thank you for clarifying.
They ask the question on their adverts: how did they sleep at night? And then they show Horlicks. Carl, if your ability to sleep deeply could be bottled somehow, it would be much better than Horlicks, because you're such a deep and great sleeper. You're amazing.
Are you saying it's one of the things I do best in life?
It is one of your skills. You are very good at nodding off.
Sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No, but I think it's a really important skill, because it's giving you
sometimes in conversation even.
I've never seen you do that.
Oh, that's good to know.
I have seen some people do that.
Fall asleep.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes to mind is
what's going on with you?
I don't know, but it's quite an interesting effect, isn't it? I wish I had that as well. Mine's not doing that. You're getting a top of the pops 1970s style effect, aren't you?
I know,
every now and then.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's like watching Pan's People.
Maybe I need to
I don't
change
know what's
the light
going on.
setting.
You've got is your ring lit? Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
It is lit.
Yeah, okay.
It's not very.
All right.
strong.
Horlicks to you too, says Penny, who's with us. Oh, Penny, thank you so much for being with us this morning. How are you today? I hope you're feeling better.
Oh, have you been poorly?
Yeah, Penny wasn't able to join us for the fabulous wine club conversation.
Oh my goodness, you must have been poorly.
Yeah,
not trying.
Did you hear that, Penny?
Sorry, I know.
You must have been poorly if you didn't make the wine club. Wow.
What I mean by that is,
come on.
I know. Penny,
here's the shovel.
Penny,
just pass that over. With a studio shovel. It's normally me on that. It's you today.
Penny likes to contribute
Yes.
in the wine club.
It's
It's a social event, and she's been a dedicated member.
Luckily, she's seeing the funny side this morning. Barandi is here as well. Bom dia todos. Outro dia no paraíso. Look at that.
Do you know what? I think you're just doing your voice over like that so that
Bom
you
dia
can,
todos.
so that you get some
no
kind
paraíso. I do want those Portuguese voiceovers.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't it be so funny if like a non-Portuguese person got a voiceover? Like I'm going to mention another brand now, and I don't know if it's the same, but in the UK there's this shopping brand called Marks and Spencer's, and I don't know what Marks and Sparks is like now, but they had an advertising.
It ain't what it used to be.
They used to have, or they may still do, they have this campaign where they say, this is not just butter. This is not just butter. This is M&S butter.
This is M&S butter.
But it's always done with a kind of porn voice. And I think that's what you're trying to, I don't know if you're trying to do it. I
certainly am not. How dare you?
But you've got a Portugal porn voice.
I can't put that on my CV.
It's a Portugal voice. That's what you've got. Isn't
that's it? a whole new genre was launched this morning on the 6th of January. Happy birthday to Ruby this morning. 12th night, yeah. King's Day in Portugal. I don't know who wants to do us a little bit of research on King's Day and give us a link to that. That'd be great this morning. But yes, it's the 6th of January, which is 12th night. Now I saw on, and thank you, by the way, for your comments on my voice there. If you do go to the website, goodmorningportugal.com, underneath the About GMP is the Hire Carl tab. So I will put Portugal porn voice on there as one of my services.
It should be on there for sure.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll add that to the growing list of things that I'm willing to do for money. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Very good. Okay.
We got some production advice from Raphael.
Oh, what's he saying? If you getting that issue, then you might want to turn off auto exposure. I do like auto exposure, whatever that means. It sounds good, doesn't it? Or auto gain if
So
it's
is
not
that
an issue with the
something?
light.
Is that a setting with the camera?
I think it's a graphics card issue, actually. This new or this reconditioned PC that we have, that is a fantastic beast that purrs away on the desk here, does have one or two idiosyncrasies. It's got more USB ports than I've ever seen on anything. I'm tempted to fill all of them. Maybe that's just a male thing.
I think that's a male thrusting thing, isn't it?
Whoa, look at the USB ports on that. Okay, all right.
Thank you, Raphael. I really appreciate that.
All right. Look at this. Bon dia. Big shout out to the new callers. Is this, I think this is perhaps, brilliant.
Have we got?
Yeah.
Are these all?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this is
trolls?
fantastic.
Are these all like sex callers?
I don't know. Let's read them out, shall we? Let's give Pete his moment. Morning, Pete. And it was never going to be long until this happened on Europe's biggest phone-in, which we'll throw the lines open at 9:30, and we'll be able to say good morning, Olaf, my friends, Sergey. I don't know if those. I'm not picking anything up from that, but Leaky Bum probably from
Ivana Likyu,
Ivana Likyu and Eshte Dion Malep. What does that mean?
What's that?
Eshte Dion Malep. I don't know.
Easter D. I don't know. You took it way too soon.
Go on. STD on my lip.
It's something on your lip anyway.
STD on my lip. Yeah. Okay.
A laugh,
okay.
My friends. It's a laugh, my friends.
He steered away from the traditional.
I love this from
Michael Hunt, didn't he? There.
Yeah.
But we're looking, and I did get a note from James this morning. Thank you, James. And so instead of exposing people as I did yesterday, even though the sticker that Nom de Plume was issued with did have her in her burqa, so the anonymity has been preserved on her. Proud to have been on Europe's biggest phone-in sticker that she was issued with after the show. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I won't be saying your name if you call in. If you do want to, I mean, Pete's not going to want to stay anonymous, is he? He's going to say this is Leaky Bum from wherever, from Castilla Branco. But if you, the guidance from James is, good morning. Thank you for calling. You are live on Good Morning Portugal. And that is all I'll say. And then the caller can just do their thing. Okay. So thank you, everybody who's taking seriously the claim that we are Europe's biggest phone-in. What?
It's always just for fun, isn't it? In response to Penny, I love that. My ring has been exposed a few times before. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm not sure if it has auto exposure, though.
That's a yoga thing you were doing in 2021, was it? That became a bit of a thing, the ring thing, didn't it?
It's a ring thing.
The yoga ring thing of 2021. And I tried it. I actually really enjoyed it. I think you caught me once, didn't you?
What, sunning
my nether regions, as was prescribed by certain yoga. I mean, talk about hot yoga. That was it. Well, depending on your tastes and preferences, I think. Morning, Fiona. Let's move on. Good morning, beautiful people. And Mark, great to have an exchange of words with you on WhatsApp, Mark. Looking forward to having you on the show. Great idea that you came up with. Central Portugal in the house. I don't know why I did that. I was trying to, get an air horn out of me there, but didn't quite work. Hola, bon dia. We need that on. Why would I do my own air horn when I have a panel of or a whole range of audio and sound effects available to me? Actually, air horn isn't one of them. I will put that over the weekend.
Sort that out,
we do need an air horn. Every radio studio should have an air horn. Hola, bon dia, alegria from Mark then, and smash that like button.
You got some great comments coming in.
Is that yoga posture called the bike rack? And you got to laugh when you see a comment that begins with "ha ha." You know that the person is writing that with tears in their eyes, right, or laughing out loud on their own. And then someone else in the house might open the door. What, you okay in here? Oh, yeah, I'm just writing about bike racks and yoga postures with these two people in Portugal. Oh, okay. All right. What's that? Not an image I needed first thing in the morning. Sun on. Okay. Should we move on then? Please send me an air horn. Actually, that's a really great idea. Raphael, thank you so much. Yes, please send me an air horn. And that's open. if you would like to send a sound effect, you can record something into WhatsApp. It's the same number, 00351 for Europe's biggest phone in, and 913-590-303. Record us a sound effect and we'll play it, probably.
Yeah, most likely.
I'm very open-minded, I like to think. So I suspect we would play most sound effects that were sent to us. And you can do that via WhatsApp, either as a file, MP3, or just record it, and I'll sort that out at this end. Fantastic. You see, it was worth all the yoga-based smut this morning just to get to that, was it not?
It was definitely worth it. Absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
There I go.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, we'll sort something out at the end. We'll have a good old look at it.
You see, I'm thinking when this is scrolling past on Facebook and people think, oh, God, it's just that idiot talking about Portugal again. If they see you and the light flashing like that, it will attract them to the show. So I think we will stay. We'll stay with that that effect there. And there is our website, one of our banners this morning. Please visit us at goodmorningportugal.com. And we have a veritable treasury of Portugal-based things over there. That is the Hire Carl Munson page. That's not what I wanted to look at. I wanted to look at the news desk, so I'll just switch that back to the news desk. Because as well as Portugal being the best place in the world to retire to, which we could cover on this Feel Good Friday, I didn't yesterday talk about the Portugal now accepting more driver's licenses from around the world. This is really good news, and this would have saved a lot of people a lot of stress.
Oh my goodness.
Try not to look over to the right where it says dozens of cases of XBB lineage of Omicron variant detected, which is like, what does that mean? No idea. It's just reminding you to be afraid, I think. So keep your eyes to the left of the screen here, where new rules published today allow for drivers with licenses from the States. It didn't change, did it? That's good. I saved you. I actually just told you about the new COVID variant, but you didn't see the pictures. So I need to change to the right page, which is the Portugal news. And we must address this. Oh, there she goes again. We must address this matter, Mrs. M, of Daniel Craig, not Craig David.
Yeah.
It could have been either, though, to be fair, couldn't it? The Bow selector or the Bond selector. 007 spotted in San Martin de Porto. And we've got some video, haven't we, so that we can just put an end to these rumors. Okay, so
let's put it on.
I think we'll come back to the story about all the articles. Stop calling them stories, Carl. They are, well, I suppose they are stories, aren't they? But really, in the age that I grew up with, I wanted respectable news where they were articles of truth and fact, not stories made up by...
I think that ship has sailed.
So
a long time ago.
You're
and
so
it's somewhere lost at sea.
Are you saying that even in my own youth, it wasn't even true? They were fabrications.
Most likely, not true.
Febrile newsrooms were pushing certain kinds of agendas. Tell me it's not true.
At some point, like there was, I've said this before, and I'm not the only one to say it.
Say it again.
Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Like once upon a time, people thought world... whatever it's called, World Wrestling. What's it called? WWF? What is that like?
Yes.
At some point in the distant past, people thought that was actually true and not staged.
Which you have now ruined for anyone who still thinks it's true.
Like 50 years on.
Yes.
But when people realized it was staged, people are like, oh, okay, well, it's just entertainment anyway. At some point, we will realize the same with the news.
Well,
it's staged. It's entertainment. It's to distract you and to it's a sleight of hand to make you look the other way.
Right.
And when big news hits, I always think, oh, what's been hidden? Like, what's really going on?
We need a jingle for this.
Look over here.
Mrs. M is on one now.
Come on, show us the Daniel Craig.
Yes, okay. The important news then. Silver Coast, rumours of the new Bond movie and Daniel Craig being spotted on the Silver Coast. Were you excited when you heard about this?
Yeah, I was. I was more a bit concerned because my kids were sort of like in the water, and you never know what these strange people might, what they're going to be like.
What with their harpoons and cars that drive underwater.
Exactly.
And such things. Okay, is he your favourite Bond, Daniel Craig, would you say?
I don't really have one. I've never been a massive fan of the Bond genre.
The franchise?
Yeah, it's not really been one for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think other people will answer
I guess if I had to choose like blonde Bond, I mean that just really broke quite a few.
James Blonde,
like
licensed to use peroxide. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he's the most handsome one to me. If I was to choose, I probably would say that. Yeah, But I'm just not part of the genre. I don't really like it that much.
Well, that's really killed that story then. Mrs. M is flashing us.
I wasn't like, stripping off to meet him in the water, put it that way.
Okay, all right. Mrs. M is flashing. If word gets round that we're doing that yoga thing and flashing on this morning's show, we're going to get a whole load of extra new viewers, I suspect. Keep those to yourself. Or solar flares. Ooh, that's quite appropriate
Very
for
clever.
you, isn't it? Very good
Yeah.
there. Yeah, okay, so fair enough.
I'm pulling a moonie, given it's a full moon today.
I want you to say more about this full moon.
I will
It's
do.
certainly having its effect in our family, isn't it, the full moon? Sean Connery is the only James Bond. Yes, absolutely. Okay, funny. Let's have a look at these.
Did you say funny?
Miss Funny, yes. What? It's not. I think it's when Ross Abbott used to do a Bond skit. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we're talking.
Funny.
That's another UK reference.
Okay, I didn't see her in the. I didn't see any funny business in someone watching at the Porto the other day. When we were able to obtain this footage, we cannot reveal our sources, and we hope this puts an end to all speculation.
Yes. Here he comes, Daniel Craig. Yep, dipped in the water, gone right under.
He's very good with the fans, isn't he?
Do you know what my favourite part of that is? Our
little soul at the end.
Our little
there.
crazy
Fantastic.
4-year-old just being himself.
Yes.
Now, some people won't be able to it's like my eyes, I can't unsee that.
What? Well, that's put an end to it anyway.
Yeah,
it was the janitor. It was the janitor all the time, wasn't it? After we whipped off his swimming trunks, you could see it was the janitor.
Yeah, it wasn't really Daniel Craig.
No, okay, nothing to see here. What? It was cold. It was cold that day. It was the 3rd of January, as you saw there.
Yeah.
And I owed Lynn Clear of Clearly Creative a dip because I'd promised to go.
What? That sounds really rude.
It does. Now I've said it out loud.
Yeah.
You're tinkering with your lights still, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this. I'm distracted as well.
They don't seem to be coming. I think these cheap Chinese shop lights are starting to dim.
Yes, buy in haste and regret at your leisure. There, paparazzi taking pics of Mrs. M. There. Hope you're feeling better.
I am, thank you.
Oh, that's what the flashing is. It's the paparazzi. Francis, good morning to you. Sounding like you're on the up.
I am definitely on the up, which is great.
Jeff is here. Fantastic, Jeff. How are you doing? Great to see you here at this time of day. And Pete is off to prepare a little, would you say celebratory or celebratory, a feast for Cindy getting her residency. Oh, nice one. People in Central Portugal look after each other. Nice community.
That's so nice.
And coming back home, thanks so much for reading Olaf, my friends, Sergey. All of my friends, Sergey. All of my friends, Sergey.
All of my friends are gay.
Ah, there we go. We got there in the end. Leaky bum was obvious, wasn't it? Ivana lick you. Ivana man. Those were great moments in The Simpsons, weren't they?
Yes. But what's the last one, Pete?
Yeah, we don't get that. And STD on my lip. And when we realise what it is, we will be so embarrassed that we've read it out 12 times already, I think. Ooh, yes, full moon in Cancer. Mrs. M, what is the significance of this? And John, yes, licenses. We will come back to that definitely. So hang about, and we will come back to that. Really important and good news, I think, for a lot of people. STD on my lip.
Oh my God!
Oh, keep it up. Okay, this is really good. The full moon in Cancer. Is it likely to have people being mischievous, like Mr. Bleach there?
I don't know really. I mean, usually what happens at the time of the full moon is we go through physiological and psychological and emotional changes. So physiologically, our bodies are purging what we've collected in our cellular makeup, so we are trying to get rid of everything. We're full to the brim of stuff, of emotions and toxins and this, that, and the other. If you think of the high tide, it's like you're absolutely full of water, full of emotions.
Effulgent.
Yeah, and it just so happens that the sign of Cancer is well known for its deep and difficult to understand emotions. And so what we've got is we've got this kind of like real pull from the opposite side. They work in opposites, they work in pairs. So it's working across the Capricorn Cancer axes even. And the Capricorn energy is very much about rationality and being step by step, and almost being slightly. They get accused of being a bit on the cold side, because they try to keep everything reasonable and practical. And then the Cancerian side is kind of over emotional. Like think of like
What?
Jewish mum, think of Jewish mum kind of going cray, wah, like really sort of over effusive. And
unlike Chinese mum.
that's the Capricorn side.
Okay, you're right.
Now, what's playing out is that we've got both of these styles going on, and the chances are we are coming up against the opposite side to what we're expressing ourselves. So, for instance, if you're getting into any heated discussions or any discussions, you may well find that you're really playing the practical person and everyone else seems over the top emotional, and then you can't take them seriously. And so it's like a back and forth game of projections, like massive projections and emotional games. And also there's some other things playing into it. So the position of the sun and the moon, which are always in opposition, like across an axis, at the time of the full moon, this time, they're also squaring something called Chiron. And Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And so what's really playing into today's full moon is that our hurts from the past that we've not been able to shift, that we've not been able to understand. It's like we're all coming from that hurt child place. And of course, can you imagine any kind of conversation being of any use when it's coming from that hurt child place? Everybody's sort of in this place. It's a tough one.
Okay.
If you've got something really big and heavy going on,
I have. How could you tell from there?
If you've got any kind of massive mum things going on, because Cancer definitely represents the mother and the whole family line, the whole genetic line, the ancestry, the history. The sign of Cancer is all about history. So it's whatever's occurring right now is likely to have echoes of the near past, the distant past, the ancient past. The sign of Cancer is very much about finding your stability, but there's often lots of expectations put on people, and therefore lots of disappointment when those expectations aren't met. So there's lots of that kind of passive aggressive guilt and stuff. So if you sense that someone is trying to lead you down one of these rabbit holes today, somebody emotional, I would absolutely recommend that you walk away and find some time on your own and get to the core of really what's going on. Like, what is it I'm feeling right now? Like, really, what am I feeling right now? What's going on? And then ask yourself like a few questions, but the key one just has to be, who does this belong to? Is this mine? Like this guilt that I'm feeling, this feeling that I've been blamed for something or shamed for something. Whose expectations created this? Am I carrying something? Because there's so much, and in all the client work I'm doing at the moment, some of the oldest injuries are coming up to be examined.
That seems to be a theme of these times as well, doesn't it? I mean, not just this full moon, but generally speaking, I think there's a lot of introspection and discomfort going on, isn't there? You could look at it both ways, couldn't you? You could say there is a discomfort around
there's a massive
the shadow,
discomfort.
what's in our shadows. But it's also a great opportunity if you're correctly prepared. It's a fantastic opportunity to shake off what's
It really
in the
is.
shadow.
But I would say these are such. This is great for anyone that feels experienced enough or supported enough to explore their shadows. It's cool that you mentioned shadows, because we've also got this really strong opposition between Pluto and also Lilith. Now, Lilith is a character who. Or it's an energy, it represents this energy in our charts of where we feel suppressed, where we feel like we cannot be ourselves, where we've been chucked in a box and we feel like we've been made to behave a certain way. That's not actually true. You know, we've obviously got the choice to behave the way we want. We might just not be prepared to accept those consequences. But Lilith shows us where we've been locked up and suppressed, and also where we've got growing resentments. And then on the other side of the chart, we've got Pluto, which shows us where we're trying to control things for our own survival. And where our controls are actually sort of anti-life, you know, where these controls are actually slowly killing us.
Suffocating, yes.
Yeah. And so we've got
Wow.
this massive sort of suffocation going on. Like, we're trying to control our life so much, and yet there's a part of us, a small child part of us, that's been repressed.
Or a man with a baseball bat like Michael Douglas.
Yeah,
You know, there's that
definitely.
moment, isn't it? It's what am I doing sat in this traffic jam?
Yeah.
Trying to live this certain kind of life, and he just leaves his car and walks across a field.
Well, that is the. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff on the internet recently of people just totally losing it, like in a really irrational way,
Yes.
and then just justifying their actions. I saw a car pull out and take out a motorcyclist and two people
Just
on
in
the
a
motorcycle
fit of, these
in a rage, like
horrible
literally
rage.
literally
Yeah.
just ran them over. I mean, there was no.
What websites are you looking at? Honestly, is this not? That doesn't sound like astrological research.
No,
to me.
no. But I mean, I think shit's getting real.
Okay, there you go. You heard it on the 6th of January again. We've had quite a few revelations this morning.
But I mean, this is part of a much bigger picture, but this is like a fulcrum point of it. It's you know, the full moons always expand, and one of the key themes is, you know, it's expanding what we think of as being normal and the base point. You know, it's where we haven't really questioned what's been going on, and now we're getting to the point where we're just thinking, this isn't bringing me any joy. Damn, am I actually doing the right thing? And then it's just compounding.
So in essence,
2 weeks, go on.
So a good time to look at survival strategies that no longer serve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And in 2 weeks' time, because like full moon, new moon, every 2 weeks, pretty much. But the new moon coming up is really, really transformational, and also very, very new. It's really about setting new courses. It's about being original. It's about being yourself, being completely free of these feelings of insecurity that you can't fully express yourself.
And
it's a lot more brotherly, sisterly. It's like, it's not just about you being yourself, but it's kind of encouraging and accepting other people to be themselves too. So there's a kind of feeling of new freedom coming up.
And is this the sort of time where somebody might, as soon as they've tuned in, say, "What's all this hoodoo?" It's typical of a full moon.
Well, yeah, like that's like the Capricorn type comment.
Like, pa.
Yeah, like projecting.
I don't
any
have a
kind
shadow.
Of
I don't have a shadow.
Projecting anything that kind of doesn't make sense onto something mystical and blah,
blaming
blah, blah.
the thing.
But I mean, all of these archetypes exist within us anyway.
Yes.
You know, we're all playing out these stories and games in our relationships.
Yes.
And even if we're not actively playing them out, boy, do they come to you, and then you're like, oh, I'm in that game again, am I?
Yeah. And Penny there coming to your aid. I think I just don't think that kind of comment. Morning to you, by the way, Copy dear. Thank you.
It's fine. I'm really not offended. I think it's funny. I read it as it being funny.
Yeah, 20 years ago that would have maybe broken your stride a little bit, mightn't it? But,
yeah, it doesn't matter anymore.
Our favourite DJ is here, Darren J.
Hey.
Is that a moon there that he's put a moon emoji?
It's like a moon face.
Yeah, moon face and moonlight shadow came to mind when you were talking about the full moon. You know, that lovely.
There's a lot of shadow. There's a lot of shadow work going on at the minute.
Yeah, morning, Darren. Well, it's optional as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the
you don't
point.
have to do it.
You don't have to take a look underneath the carpet, but you may keep tripping over the things that you leave under there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Really, really, truly.
Right. Okay. What's this then? OLP. Thank you for that, by the way. That bit of hoodoo voodoo analysis of the full moon at the moment. James, sorry to see on the news about several piers in Santa Cruz being damaged. Is that by outrageous waves? Okay.
Yeah, a big swell.
Yeah.
And of course, you get those bigger swells at the time of the full moon.
That's right. That kind of hoodoo voodoo. Yes.
Well, I mean, that's where you actually see, the full effects of a high tide.
Exactly.
And it's so funny that we can recognize it outside of ourselves, but we can't recognize that the waters inside us might also similarly be affected.
No. I'm having internal piers broken right now. Don't worry about that. All from Nubia Net and OLP. Yeah, those will be rebuilt. What's sad is 4 people I think have died, including a baby. What horrible news that is. Yikes.
It's
terrible situation. Yeah, awful. Okay. This is one caller we probably don't want today. Thank you for that, by Randy. And this is it. This is typical full moon energy, I think, isn't it? People being very what was the best word to use? Open in some ways.
I love it. I think it's great.
It is good, isn't it?
I
the smash button.
I actually like the smash button. We actually do need a smash button. A smash button is really good fun.
We did have Capricorn Chris, who nearly got through to the biggest phone in Europe yesterday. We used to be the keeper of the likes, and he would urge us all to do that. So maybe Chris is lurking and may join us. We're having horrible storms in California at the moment, so sorry to hear that, Nubia. Well, stay safe. What else? Yeah. What else can we say to you? We're sending love from Portugal, and urging you to stay safe, and hoping it blows over. It's part of life, isn't it? And we just have to take the safest course. There is a metaphor, an analogy here, isn't there, in terms of human emotions that can be triggered at full moon times and other times, and the I suppose the weather is like the emotions of the planet, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. We were going to talk about the 3 steps of successful migration this morning. But we were, but we haven't even done we're taking it nice and easy. We've been distracted by terrible wordplay names as well this morning. James, another reason I don't listen to the news, and yet somehow the most notable stuff always manages to reach me. I think that's so true. What you need to know will get to you, won't it?
Yeah.
And I do admire your position on that, James. Well done, and thank you for your other input and counsel that comes through. And we'll see you on Monday, of course, for a little bit more mindful migrationing. He's listening, listener or caller. He's listening callers on a Monday from 9 as well, and stays with us for the biggest phone in Europe. Bon dia, Gumpers. Another early morning off to look after the littles and not so little ones. Always a joy. Catch you all later. Have a great day. That's the best kind of sick note we could hope for, isn't it? Hanging out. Can't be here. Got to hang out with loved ones. Completely excused. And not only, but he's off to do that and take care of his grandkids and not so little ones, and still has time to share with us a God Squad tip of the day. So thanks, mate. It's all been about core exercises. No ring sunning in this routine.
I don't know.
It could be, actually, if you do this naked.
And if you, I'm imagining, I've just shifted in my chair.
So this could be the
I'm
bike
imagining
park.
myself in a side plank.
Okay.
Propped up on my forearm, raising my upper leg.
Shall I talk you through it in my Portuguese porn voice and see if that helps as well? Last week of this week's core exercises, there will be a video, and I can't do it.
No,
because that's not even the suggestion.
No, you're sounding a bit kind of like someone trying to do Antonio
Banderas.
Yeah,
I am a cat. Last of this week's core exercises, there'll be a video over the weekend. Nice one, Coach Turner. If you want something done, ask a busy person, right?
Absolutely.
In the side plank position, propped on your forearm.
Raise your upper leg as far as you can.
Jeepers, it's the scissor, I think.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get a bike in there, are you? I don't think. You could get another person doing the same thing in there, though. Raise your upper leg as far as you can, and then lower. Yes, and do it naked is my added advice to that. Can you imagine the look on friends and family's faces as they walk into the room and you're doing a naked side plank and you've raised your upper leg as far as you can?
Yeah, it's not so much your butthole that you're exposing.
Oh my God. Look,
if
something's the best left of the imagination, Mrs. M. Try building up 10 times. So somebody walks in, oh my God, it's okay. I've only got 7 more to do. Stay where you are, put the kettle on. Try building up to 10 times both sides. If you find it easy, try speeding up and then play the Benny Hill music in the background as well.
It does sound fun.
It does sound fun. Yeah. Bom dia, campus. Feliz sexta a todos. Quem tem feito? I'm going to talk Portuguese in that voice now I think for a week and see what happens. Bom dia. So thank you very much, James, for that. Igualmente. Bom dia, campus. Feliz sexta. Putting the sex in sexta-feira today. Deep thought then from Ursula Le Guin, who's been giving us some very good value this week. Oh, and those lovely words of wisdom from Dr. Maya Angelou, not Maya, if you don't mind, but Dr. Maya Angelou. That was beautiful yesterday with the lads in Lisbon. Thank you so much, Fabrizio. That's on our YouTube channel as a segment. And here's some deep thoughts a deep thought from via T-Duck from Ursula Le Guin. Maybe, just maybe, when you meet the people you are supposed to meet, you know it without knowing it. Well, there you go. There's more of that hoodoo voodoo that we call intuition, right?
Yes.
Yes, and you do know, don't you? You know when you know. Ursula Le Guin was an American author, best known for her works of speculative fiction. And do you want to do this?
No.
Why do you never want to do this?
Because I don't.
Okay, that has to be enough, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, a nice little flash there. Dawn, I know what this is. It's like a mood ring. Whenever you're flaring up emotionally, the lights go as well. Let's see if that's true for the rest of the show. So, shall we? So it's a different kind of mood ring. It's not a mood ring you wear on your finger. It's a mood ring light that when it senses
that could
emotion,
be really interesting.
Couldn't it just? If people were wearing those,
like, so you're doing a live stream and all of a sudden it's like beautiful and happy, and then all of a sudden the emotion comes on.
Yes, and I'm aware that John Hayfield has been waiting 15 minutes now to hear about. Sorry, John, it's Friday. It's Feelgood Friday. We're just taking it easy. We'll come back to driving licenses straight after this. Before we go into the 3 steps of successful migration, Portuguese saying of the day then: Todos somos filhos de Adão e Eva. Sua vida no diferença. We're all children of Adam and Eve. Only life differs us.
Oh, wow.
I like that. I do like that a lot. Yes, thank you very much, T-Duck, for these. And a special shout out to T-Duck. This content that he brings us unfailingly, reliably every day. Special shout out to you. So thank you very much for all of these. You can begin to take it for granted. It's there every morning for you folks. So how about we show a little bit of love and appreciation for T-Duck in the chat? Especially, I mean, the dad jokes are outstanding today. So he's part of setting us up for the day every morning on the Good Morning Portugal show from around 8:30 in the morning. Hugo Nuno is here. He needs his own music, doesn't he?
No.
What?
Sorry.
Are you not? Why do you not like this either?
I don't know. I like humor. I don't like cheesy humor so much.
Then why did we marry? Did I keep that a secret? So, Hugo Nuno.
Get that weird face off the screen.
All right, okay. It's fun facts and phenomena. He's getting his own jingle. I'm going to double down on that. Hugo Nuno is going.
Oh, you're going to double down on being cheesy?
Yes, I am. So Hugo Nuno this morning. Portugal is the 3rd highest consumer.
I'm not surprised by that.
This is not altitude we're talking about. This is in terms of volume,
Yeah.
I think. A 3rd highest consumer of fish on the planet. That's after Iceland and Japan.
I'm really not surprised by that. I love the amount of fish that's consumed here.
Me too. And we're part of it. We had fish pie last night, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Interesting take. And when I first saw crab sticks, or they're not allowed to be called crab sticks anymore because there's no crab in them and never has been.
Not since the 80s.
They're called Deliciousness of the Sea or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
With top notes of that little bit of sewagey flavour that they've managed to synthesize in the laboratory. The bivalve X factor, or bivalve umami, you could call it.
If there's some marketing exec listening in, they're probably going to do that. They're going to go back to their food factory.
And that bloke, that couple we've been listening to talk about Portugal, they came up with a brilliant idea this morning: bivalve umami. It does sound good, doesn't it? It sounds like a band, actually, Bivalve Umami as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With their eponymously named album, Bivalve Umami, for 2023, from all good record shops. No, okay, so 3rd highest consumer of fish on the planet. That's after Iceland and Japan. And I made a fish pie with crab sticks. That's why I mentioned them.
Not just crab sticks.
It was
really
some
tasty.
really nice white fish in there, peppers, carrot, pea. There was the classic peas and carrots as well, diced, if you don't mind, in there, and cheddar cheese on the top. That cheddar cheese we've got at the moment, the vintage, is very nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Okay, well, I'm going to treat you to one dad joke, given what you've said about cheesy humour.
Okay.
When I told my contractor I didn't want carpeted steps, he gave me a blank stare. Now, when I say the dad jokes are outstanding this morning, that's what I'm
That is
talking
really
about.
good.
Isn't that really
That is
good?
good.
That is very good. More to come at the end. We'll
Yeah.
climax with a couple of dad
Okey
jokes,
dokes.
as we love to do here. So, John Hayfield, you've been very patient. That's if you're still here.
Yeah, he may well have
He may
gone.
well have gone and read this himself on Portugal News.
Yes.
Watch out for the advertising and fear mongering. Look away now if you don't want to be fear mongered by the other news stories at the Portugal News. I was so moved this morning in a full moon kind of way. I actually left some comments on Portugal News in the
Did
traditional.
you?
Yeah, I did. About that one there.
Yeah.
Anyway. Let's have a look. Holders of licenses. No, that's not the beginning. The subtitle is New Rules Published Today Allow for Drivers with Licenses from States with Bilateral Agreement with the Portuguese state to be officially recognised.
Who are they?
Do you want me to go straight to that? Or
Yeah.
you don't want me to read the article?
Okay, read the article.
And that should have a like STD on them
Yes.
on that driving license.
Well, I was just thinking, is that actually a real license? I'm sure it's just like a dummy one that people are allowed to use.
But that's spooky because she lives on Burns Crescent, and of course, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons that were mentioned before.
Yeah.
She's Sarah Meredith Morgan. She sounds very Welsh there, doesn't she? And she's not. Well, I think she will be one of these people who doesn't need to exchange. Holders of driving licenses issued by member states of the Community of Portuguese-speaking countries. That's the CPLP, and probably more importantly for the listeners here, more importantly the OECD, the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, one of those sinister sounding organisations, can now drive in Portugal without changing their license. Wow. Now you tell me, people are shouting out from our community here. According to the amendment published today in the Diario de República, the exchange of driving licenses has been waived, enabling driving in the national territory with titles issued in those states through the recognition of foreign driving titles. Can you read a bit more while I have some water?
Sure. So the rules for application. This recognition applies to driver's licenses in which the issuing state subscribes in a bilateral agreement with the Portuguese state if no more than 15 years have elapsed since the issue or the last renewal, and provided that the holder has less than 60 years of age.
What?
Do we need to just unpack that for a second?
We so do. If no more than 15 years have elapsed since the issue, so it's got to be less than 15 years old, isn't it?
Your driving license has to be less than 15 years old.
That's probably
and you have to be
less than 60.
Less than 60.
Okay. All right, carry on.
The published, which might not apply to a lot of the people that we're in contact with who are moving over, because many are over the age of 60.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So you were getting excited then, and maybe you are over 60, but we are doing love and sex for the over 60s a week on Monday.
Yes. The published decree law emphasises that these driving licenses only allow driving in national territory if their holders are of minimum age required by Portuguese law for the respective licence and are valid and not apprehended, suspended, expired or revoked by force or of legal provision, administrative decision or court decision applied to its holders in Portugal or in the issuing state. So you've got to have a clean licence, I think is what they're saying there.
Okay.
Reading between the lines. Do you want to carry on? Or
No, I'm really enjoying listening to you.
Freedom of movement is an essential element for the full exercise of citizenship, says the published decree law, stressing that Portugal has sought to strengthen the rights of foreign citizens who travel to our country, whether in terms of travel, temporary accommodation for tourist purposes, whether travelling to work or invest in our country. It doesn't exactly read very well, or is it just me that's not reading it very well?
It's a mix. It's a mixture of things.
It sounds like, there's been no disrespect to whoever's written this in the Portugal News. It sounds like
no one ever bothers.
It sounds like they've taken information and then kind of, like copied and pasted it and tried to sort of tie it in. Sorry about that.
No, that is what happens in newsrooms.
Yeah. It feels like it's been written at some speed.
Yes.
In the document, the government reiterates its commitment to an integration of migrants, which involves improvements in their quality of life, stressing that it's essential to simplify the licence to drive motor vehicles, an element that it considers fundamental for a guarantee of mobility throughout the national territory. And I would agree, we've come across so many people who've had real difficulty getting their licenses exchanged, right?
It is a bugbear. Is that the right word? Of the top 10 irritations being in Portugal, that would certainly be in the top 5, I would have thought.
Okie dokie. So the countries included. I'm going to skip that first bit.
What, the CPLP? I don't think we have many. Oh, I'd love it if we had listeners from Angola, Brazil,
Yeah.
Cape Verde, Sao Tome and Principe, Guinea, Bissau, and Mozambique. But I don't think we do very often.
No.
It's these OECD ones that
So
are
it's
more likely.
Austria, Australia, Belgium, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa
Chile.
Rica, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Korea, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Luxembourg, Mexico,
Yes.
the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Slovak Republic, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, the UK, and the US.
Are you sure that's not the Eurovision Song Contest?
Do you know what? I really felt like there was a bit of a Eurovision vibe going on.
Yeah, but
there.
Australia are missing, aren't they?
No, Australia's there.
No, Austria's there.
No,
Oh,
Australia
is
and
there.
Australia.
You're so right.
Yeah.
So that could be Eurovision.
Well, no, because
and Israel.
the US isn't normally in the Eurovision.
But it might be next year.
Well, it might as well be because
should be.
everything else is.
Can you imagine if America joins Eurovision?
Yeah.
That would be so great. I'd enjoy that. Okay. So there you go. I hope that helps.
So
John
like
Hayfield.
to distill that,
Yeah.
I think what you need to just remember is if you're one of those countries, jobs are good in. If you've got a clean license, then it's looking good. If your license is less than 15 years old and you're under 60, I think that is the kind of summary.
It is, isn't
that.
it? And as you say, it may be that one or two of our community members here are over 60.
Yeah.
But then what do they do? Do they have to exchange, or do they keep their license but just have to have a medical as well? If you know, let us know, please, in the comments. That'd be a real.
I mean, I've had very like varying accounts from people, in terms of exchanging a license when you've been considered retired.
Yeah.
So I've heard of people that have actually gone for quite a full medical, and then people that have just been kind of waved right through.
I was hoping to drop my trousers at mine and be asked to cough.
They weren't bothered, were they?
And for the Swedish nurse to say, you can certainly drive on our road, sir. But no.
The Swedish nurse in Portugal.
Oh, yes, sorry. That must wrong fantasy. Gary Orgles is here. Bon dia, Gumpers. Sorry, I missed that earlier on. Gary, how are you doing? How's it going with your project, Gary? Be great to have you on the screen at some point. Come and join us one morning, or even phone in to Europe's greatest phone in, which is about. Did I just say greatest? Why not?
You did, yeah.
All right, Europe's biggest phone in, which we'll throw the lines open at 9:30. Okay, and I think I've done a typo on the ticker tape. If I put 8:30, and there will be thousands of people waiting to phone in, and they've been frustrated.
I think you'll be forgiven.
Okay, I'm not even going to let that pass one more. Oh no, it does say 9:30. That's good.
There you go.
Okay, I'm glad to see that I didn't make that mistake.
People were very observant. They noticed the weave on your chest.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely. I noticed that, and I'm taking it as a compliment. That's definitely
a Bond chest covering.
Well, it's Sean Connery.
Yeah,
he was the hairiest of the hairy guys in that lineup.
I would say so. Yeah,
for sure. Tastefully shaded. What was that? Lord Gilchrist of Lisbon. I love it when people refer to him in that way. Thanks for sharing this week about your challenge with letting go of work. Helped me very much.
Oh wow, that's great.
Perhaps we need to do more on that. And it does come. It certainly comes into what we're going to be. What we intended to talk about 24 minutes ago. That hasn't happened yet. Okay. And Fiona, thank you, Fiona, for being here as well. Wow, I woke up this morning wanting to get life moving forward. Perhaps I should wait, sit with what is, paying attention, and live in gratitude, delay the huge leaps. Until when, Louisa? Good question.
That's a really good question. I can answer that right now.
Yeah.
First of all, if you want a quick 5-minute forecast, this is a shameless plug. Go to Feelgood Astrology on YouTube, and there are like sign by sign little forecasts, and also a monthly one. But I don't know when your birthday is, Fiona, and I've never actually looked at your whole chart before. But what I would say is we've got like when the sun goes into Aquarius on the 20th, and then you've got the 21st, which is the new moon, which is really, really strong. I would wait an extra day until the 22nd of January when Uranus goes direct. And so you've got like this trifecta of Uranian energy all working really well. You've got the sun, the moon, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. and things will start to move forwards really easily. Carl's giggling because I'm talking about,
We're talking about Uranus,
a transit in
Fiona.
Uranus.
And when she says whole chart, that is with a W.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Fiona, like, spread them, bend over. Let me have a look at your whole chart.
Oh no!
No, I would
Okay.
actually sit on it for the moment.
Oh, what?
Sit on it at the moment.
Right.
Let things wash over you. Like, sit with what is.
Oh, good advice to anyone today.
Just take it
What's the
slow.
hurry, Murray?
There really isn't a rush.
Yeah.
We've got 3 things retrograde at the moment. 2 of them are personal. So, it's normal for planets to appear retrograde from the way we observe them moving from this place on Earth. But there are observable differences, when Mercury goes retrograde, Mars and Venus. Now, Mars is retrograde, and it goes retrograde every 2 to 2.5 years, and it's a longer retrograde. And during that time, people are often feeling really motivated, and then at the same time feeling incapacitated. So it's like, I must get moving. It's like you're driving on the road and you haven't got the balance right. You keep stalling. And so there's this stalling energy at the minute, which should clear off from the 12th. And then the Mercury retrograde, which is very much, I always see it, I don't see it as a big doom and gloom thing. I just see it as a time to reflect and reimagine and re-envision your direction. So just take some time to go deep inside and enjoy it. And then come the 22nd, you'll be feeling really refreshed and raring to go.
There you go, Fiona. Good
I hope
value.
that's helpful.
Oh my God.
And if somebody would like me to have a look at their chart online,
whole chart,
then I'm very happy to do that sometime.
What, on the show?
Yeah, why not?
Ooh,
like pop up stand-up astrology.
Stand-up astrology.
But only if it's appropriate. So if somebody really wants it, then
can have it.
They can have it.
We will be bike racking later at Keep Fit. Now, I hope by Randy you'll think of us while you're doing that.
Yeah, I hope you'll giggle.
Yeah. What was with the giggling at the back? Oh no, I was just talking about my friends with this earlier on this morning. By Randy, think of us as your bent double in the smelling the floor of the of the dojo. Massive Earth size flare around 4 a.m. this morning, which was the exact moment when I woke up. Does this affect the effect of the full moon activities, Louisa, the solar flares?
Well, I don't like on a physical basis, as a physicist, which I'm not, I can't talk about it. But the solar flare activities, I do know that there is evidence of how the solar flares affect people. And that people start to feel everything really intensely in their body, and if you've got that going on at the same time as a full moon, then that will obviously amplify. I mean, we are really living in charged times. For those of you that follow the Schumann resonance, there are people that will record the Schumann resonance across the world. And earlier this week, there were 2 days where it completely was off the scale. And these usually tie in with intense emotions across the world. And there was, I can't remember what this, I really can't remember what the name of the company was. Was it HeartMath that was studying something so long ago?
Could well be, yeah.
But there was maybe the HeartMath Institute, and I'm sure somebody that's listening will be able to tell us. But years and years ago, there was something set up with this kind of automaton, like this like little simple computer that randomly did a heads and tails selection, and it would do it so many times a minute or so many times an hour and record whether it was heads or tails, heads or tails, heads and tails. And it's been doing it historically throughout, for decades now. And when there are big global events, what is noticed is that all of a sudden the randomness of the heads versus tails, it starts not being random. Mm-hmm. And so it's argued that at times like this, the human consciousness starts to affect what's going on. Or is it the energy of what's going on in the earth? I don't know, but there are these times when seemingly random things start to have a coincidence, that they start to behave as if they're not random. And I would suggest that we're going through one of these times right now where things that appear random aren't.
There are so many beautiful themes coming together. Michael Heron on Wednesday said, "I don't believe in coincidences." Right?
Yeah.
Among the most rational of men.
Yeah. He is.
And I suppose you could say that is very rational to say, "I don't believe in coincidences." But then, how do you? Is that? I guess that is rationalization of the random. But it's also an honoring of the random, isn't it? To say there are no random things. This is part of the, or he. I don't know if he was saying this. I suspect maybe James would proffer that this is the universe at work. There is a design here, and things aren't random. Bringing in climate change here, all this weather stuff we're talking about is the climate change we've been talking about. It's not anomalous; it's a building pattern. Are we familiar with the story of the frog in the pot?
Yes,
now, interestingly,
definitely. I did a show with somebody on my channel, Louisa Munson, and who was it with? Our friend from Liverpool. I can't remember.
Oh yes, the foul-mouthed fellow.
Yeah, the guy who swears a lot and who's really amazing. A very good teacher.
Yeah.
And he was talking. We did a whole show about the frog in the pot.
But it's not true, is it? That's the funny thing. A lot of
Isn't
people
it?
use this analogy of. I mean, we totally understand what it means and what it's pointing at. The supposedly a frog boiled in a pot. And we're thinking.
Well, not just that, but they start to pull each other down.
What the frogs do is they're trying to get out.
Yeah.
Oh, mixing of metaphors here. I like it.
Like there's one that if you put somebody in a pot of water, a frog, sorry, and
there's no nice way of saying
like
this.
if you were to put somebody in hot water straight away, they'd be straight out. But if you just turn on the heat really gradually, it all works out.
Well,
But there's also a phenomenon where everyone's okay. Like there's lots of frogs in a pot.
Yes. This is us in society now you're talking about.
Yeah. And then as people try to, or as a frog tries to escape, the others kind of pull them back in. It's like, oh, it's not safe.
I see. And then
like it's also known as like an equalization process. That we all try to equalize ourselves to a safe spot. And anyone that puts their head above the to have a look around gets shot down or pulled back down.
Or are they just standing on each other to try and get out the pot?
Yeah, there's that too.
There could be that as well. So that's not made any clearer.
But there are patterns within patterns.
But useful, yes, I would say so.
Definitely. Observable patterns. And I think, like obviously nature is just a beautiful thing to be in, to sit in, to enjoy, and to share in. But I actually think what is around us is communicating with us as well. And this is where I am getting woo-woo, but there are signs everywhere. Like
not at all.
The world, life, whatever you want to call it. When you turn the radio on and a particular song comes on, it's as if you're co-creating this experience. Like the world around you that you are seeing and viewing is like confirming your viewpoint or changing your viewpoint.
Or you could consider, couldn't you, that just because you don't understand something doesn't mean there isn't an order at work.
Yeah.
Behind
yes, absolutely.
Because this is how life is like for children, isn't it? You can smile wryly, can't you, when you see a child trying to make sense of something that you've already made sense of.
Yeah.
So if you extrapolate that to yourself and consider that there are things you don't understand, but might be in implicate order or intricate order.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Yeah.
I don't know if that gives you freedom and lightness as a thought. Take it with my love.
I mean, all of this is just aimed at helping people feel clearer and feeling more freedom in their lives. Right, some people will say, "Well, I don't need anything to feel that," and that's great.
Yes,
that's really true.
Oh, yeah.
And for some people, they will be saying, "Well, yeah, actually, I don't feel very free in my life at the minute.
Yeah,
I don't know how to be myself. I don't feel comfortable doing that."
Yes.
And wherever you are right now is absolutely okay.
Yes. Just arrived, says Bob Wenger at Ian Turner. Great exercise, noticeable benefits for sure. So Bob's been following. I've been waiting for this moment for somebody to say, yes, I love Coach Turner's work.
Yeah.
I've been doing it and I'm getting a benefit. So he has any chance of video reviewing each exercise for the week. Raising the game there and a request from Bob there. I need to put you two directly in touch, I think. We are family. And I remember now that Owen sent me a fantastic meme before Christmas of some nuns out in the snow. Sister Sledge was the name of that meme. Thank you, James, for reminding me of that. I'm sorry it never made it to the screen. Antonio F. Bon dia to you. Great to see you here this morning. Earth facing solar flare at the same time as Mrs. M's screen is flashing.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a
This
solar
is
flare
spooky,
myself.
isn't it? Earth facing solar flare seismic activity within 7 days. And yeah, people do worry, don't they? A bit like Y2K about the computer systems. And there are certain government systems that some people wouldn't mind being zapped with a solar flare. Bring on the cheese, Carl. What? And as we found out on the fantastic etiquette webinar last night with Anna and Philomena, it was superb. Expats Portugal's webinar last night that I hosted. Cheese at the beginning of the meal, not at the end here in Portugal, but that was great. Yeah. Well,
that really turns everything on its head, doesn't it? In terms of digestion and the fruit rules, you know, that you're supposed to have fruit first because it digests faster.
Food combining nightmares.
Yeah.
Yes, we've all had those, haven't we? Yeah, but I mean, it's cultural. I don't think the Portuguese eat cheese at the beginning out of some sort of naturopathic honouring of. Be
interesting to find out why, though, right?
Why
that has come about? Because there is usually a common sense reason.
It is the amuse-bouche of Portugal, is it not? A bit of bread and cheese at the beginning and fish paste, something like that. And it's a shame it's got to a factory-produced silver foil tin with a lid on it, isn't it? And everything.
I'm always so much more impressed when we get like a lovely homemade bowl of
the risk of food poisoning.
Sardine.
The risk of food poisoning is always much nicer, isn't it, at the beginning of a meal?
Definitely.
Double down on cheesiness. I'm not lactose intolerant, and I'm just not a baby cow. What? Okay. Thank you, James. Joao Mendonça is here. Good morning, Sire and Mrs. M. Flowers,
nice
for you.
flowers for me. Thank you very much.
Still here, my dears, reminding us. John, was that helpful? I hope it was. Sarah Yerman here, also born dear to you. Not less than 15 years old, not more than 15 years from last renewal. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
He's a stickler for detail. I love it.
I love that. Thank you so
it's
much.
Really helpful. Thank you, James. Freedom of movement doesn't matter if you happen to be above the age of 60, apparently. Ooh, yes. Go on, you oldies. Get down outside the town hall with your pitchforks and flaming torches. Absolutely good point, James. Very good there. And East Timor. Is that also in the list as well there? That'll be a part of Portuguese colony connection there.
You know, I'm with Raphael about this. Please don't bring America into the Eurovision. You know, because the Eurovision is meant to. No, it's meant to be. No, it's not. Like Eurovision is supposed to be about Europe. I mean, what the flipping heck is Australia doing?
There's
in there?
Okay, fair enough.
How did they get in there? Because of the connection to the UK.
It might be Israel got in, and then people thought, "Okay, we can't be showing favoritism to Israel. Pick another country, quick." What's at the beginning? Australia. Hello, is that Australia? Yeah, you're in the Eurovision Song Contest, so we don't look bad. And that was it. That's basically the story behind that. Why isn't there a Global Vision Song Contest? Because it would go on for bloody 3 days. Lord Gilchrist, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? It would be as long as the World Cup. I think. Okay, so to summarize, all the benefits of being able to legally drive in Portugal does not apply if you're older than 60. Correct. I think maybe we're getting there, aren't we? And I think that is absolutely right, at least for the time being. I often catch a couple of minutes, then I fall back to sleep. I always hit the like button first. Now we're doing really well on the like button here. We've got 1 like from Chris Smith. And 2 loves. I mean, they're all this talking and smashing the like button every morning. You know, actually, what is
nobody does it.
Well, they just like talking. They just like talking, don't they? So maybe you could actually hit the like button. And what is really helpful to us, we're nearly at 800 on our YouTube subscriptions. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do, because that is really very helpful in our efforts to become monetized over there. Same old exchange requirements for us old folks. Yeah. And also, why isn't there one driving license? Cars are the same in the world.
Do you know what, Andrew? There's a group of people that are trying to bring in a new world order.
Yes.
They sound like the perfect people for you.
That's right.
Because they want to standardize everything across the board.
If you want a job with the World Economic Forum, I think that's a really good idea.
That might be the next place to apply.
Yeah, that's right, Andy. And why leave it at driving licenses? Let's just have one supermarket, one petrol station.
Sorry, we're being facetious now, aren't we?
All right. Portugal does have a fear of the age 60. You know, we like to think of it as a respect. Respect for old people, and that's why they have to have a special driving license as well. Maybe. Okay, Eurovision is long enough. Doesn't need to go on for a whole month. There you go.
Yeah, I
Raphael's
agree.
with me on that. And what's this? Being 60. We do need an association of over 60-year-olds. I'm not there myself yet, but maybe you could warm the seat for me, everybody, and start an association of well, hold on. 70, right? Is that right? 60? Irish people. No, that's 70, isn't it? What is?
I just nodded then as well.
Yeah, you did. You wanted me just to feel that boiled frog heat for a moment. Thank you very much, Mrs. Deb. You left me high and dry.
I was like thinking, hang on, I'm on the spot. It's
Elementary,
really difficult.
your elementary blind spots.
Yeah.
They
But
are
I was just thinking in French there.
Yes, what 60?
Yeah, because it was, what was it you were saying? Because you were saying association. So you were saying with all these
I was getting there, wasn't I?
And so I was thinking 60.
Please, Antonio, can you help us out here? We need an association for expats over 60 as a lobbying force when it comes to driving licenses and other things. Okay, I had to exchange my driving license and get a medical appointment as well as get my eyes checked. Now, when I go back to America, I drive my Portuguese license along with an international license. There you go, some practical help there. Heat up the hotline. It's 20 to 10, Mrs. M, and we do need to heat up that hotline, at least symbolically. So I'm switching on the YouTube channels and Facebook pages of the European phone-in. Good morning, Europe. Yeah, and then maybe that's the thing to do at this point, is to say, good morning, Europe. And this is a wonderful continent and peninsula of 745 million people. Perhaps one or two of you might like to join us over here this morning. And where's my intro video gone for this?
I didn't even know you had one.
Here we go. Let's try this. There you go. That's the phone-in, the biggest phone-in in Europe. You get a sticker each time you appear on here, and it might be Lord Gilchrist's third time being on.
Don't be shy. Just give us a call and have a natter. I'm really in a chatty mood. I'd love to, to see what's going on for you.
Engage, right? And we might hang around a little bit longer on this Feel Good Friday.
Sure,
Sandman calling up. You were here with us yesterday, Nom de Plume. Of course, it was great to hear your voice, and you arose to that invitation of people. Actually, us being able to hear put a voice to the name, basically. Over 60, exchange of driving license is still required, from what we understand. Why not? Just add a medical checkup for the 60+ group rather than all the old driving license record apostilled, says James there. Thankfully, mine is completed. Yeah, good job. Well done, Bob. And hello, friends. Trying to sleep here. Oh, sorry. Do we need to keep the noise down? But the surf food, oh no, oh my God. Fiona, thanks, Louisa. We'll postpone until the 22nd for sure. So duvet day, well done. We'll continue with the reimagining. I will be in touch for a chart reading soon. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? And Antonio F, to the slug, you can legally drive in Portugal being over 60, but with a Portuguese driver's license. Carl, in the UK, do you want to talk about this? The winter of discontent, it might be being called in the UK. Did you know we're in a strike legislation? What next? I don't know what that means. I know they're trying to
Tell us a bit more about it.
Well, they're definitely trying to legislate against strike action over there, that naughty Tory government. That was HeartMath.
The HeartMath Institute.
Where I have been quoted. I'm always
really?
Yes, they've got one of my quotes in their treasury.
Can you remember what it is?
Yes, the universe is a big place, but don't worry, you'll grow into it.
Ah, yeah.
That one.
That's a really good
the
one.
global coherence measure was HeartMath. Thank you, James, for that. And there was a huge global shift after 9/11 terrorism in the US, adds James as well.
Yeah, James is saying it might be crabs in a basket. I think that was it. Right. I've done one about frogs and also crabs in a basket.
Yeah, but please, people, don't be boiling frogs or putting crabs. Eat the crabs or leave them alone, but don't mess about with them. Programming, Louisa, per the frog analogy, lots of programming these days.
Well, yeah, I mean,
has there never been or ever been?
I'm really fascinated by this whole idea of equalization, that people tend to sort of like exist within a particular bandwidth, and there's a certain amount of either observable pressure, really obvious pressure, you know, to stay the same and to stay within a particular like tranche of society.
Tranche.
You know, like this. I don't think we are brought up with this idea that we are really truly free to create the life we want without consequences. Now, I'm not suggesting. I mean, it's an interesting one. Like, do you want to have freedom? And if so, are you prepared to let other people be free to be themselves? And I think the way our language is kind of set up,
right?
structured,
Yes.
it allows for these kind of put downs, and you know, there's this way that, you know, people seem to have of equalizing themselves, keeping themselves in their box. You know, they're suppressing themselves, or I say they, like I do it to myself, because the
Yes.
fear of not being part of your community, or not being or of being rejected from your family, probably is the earliest wound, isn't it? It stops us in our position. It stops us in place.
Yeah,
it keeps
survival.
us locked up.
We learn early on, don't we?
Yeah.
It can be dangerous to disagree unless you're
Really dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's something that I find really quite challenging in this lifetime, is that, you know, it's not okay, or we haven't been taught that there are safe ways to have these conversations and to be ourselves. Placenta, thank you.
Placenta. Placenta is not a Portuguese word, or a deca digital thing, one of the 10s, but it was a placenta I was looking for.
James is trying to call, but it's not ringing through.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know.
Honestly,
what's happened to your phone? Is one of the kids playing on it?
We'll make an outbound and pretend I didn't hear you saying it was James, so his anonymity can be. Try again, please, James. It's not going terribly well. I don't know how we're going to build Europe's biggest phone in at this rate, with the never-ending technical challenges. But we will get there. We will get there at some point. Let me just make sure the. I think it's something to possibly to do with Wi-Fi, but if you can't get through, then
Andy's also heating up the hotline. No answer.
We're definitely having a problem here, aren't we? So I'll see if I can go outbound on this to include these gentlemen in the conversation, and we might even be able to do a conference call here, and we might have to carry over our wish to talk about the 3 steps of a successful migration here this morning.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at. We'll do a special on that. I think that might be the thing to do.
Definitely.
Okay.
Let's just like be calmer today, you know, and just take it easy.
Do you know what I've done?
What have you done?
It says to make a call, turn off airplane mode. I've been in airplane mode this morning. Oh, silly Billy. Okay, so it is safe to call now. 913-590-303. Oh, I can see all the calls that have come in now. So the only thing I need to do then is give James. I'll give caller A call now. Oh, you can't place a new call while you're already in a call, and you can hear that possibly coming through now.
I can hear it.
Okay, let me see if we can actually take that. Come on, WhatsApp, make your user interface a little easier for. And now Capricorn, so there's 3 people. This is the biggest phone in Europe. There are 3 people ringing in all at once. So let's get Chris in, because we rejected his call yesterday. Good morning, caller. You're through to the Good Morning Portugal show. You don't have to say who you are.
Is this thing on?
Yes, it's on. It's on.
Morning, Chris. Oh. It is
One
on.
second. You know what? I want to tap the phone, like the old people used to tap the microphones when they weren't sure whether the phone was on or not.
Go ahead and do it. You're welcome.
So, can you hear that?
Yep.
Yes, it is on.
It's definitely on.
Definitely on.
How are you doing, fella?
I'm well. I'm very well. How are you, Louisa?
Yeah, really well. I'm recovering from that awful explosive stomach bug that I saw the new year in. What was it you wanted to talk about today?
Today, I just want to talk about peace and tranquility. Today, I just want to be chilled. I want to be cool. You know, I want to look forward to our next trip to the lovely place of sunlight and enlightenment, which is San Martino de Porto.
Oh, bless you.
So the next time we're up, guys, we're going to meet up at the meetup and have some nice warm beer, because, Carl, you're drinking again now, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Warm beer?
No, sometimes a warm beer is good, you know,
Okay, all right.
because it means that you appreciate the cool beer.
It means what?
So, because then you appreciate the cool beer when you have a warm beer. You know, you really appreciate what you don't have.
I see. He's very
So,
philosophical this morning,
Yeah.
isn't he? Very good. Very good. I like it. All right.
so
You're on, Chris,
so
definitely.
what happened in Nazaré with the surfer?
Don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who was it who said that. But it sounded like there was a fatality among the surfing community there, which we're very sorry to hear about. I'm hearing that another call is coming in to join us, and I would love to include you, caller. On a. We have been in a situation where we've been able to add people to the call, which is fantastic. Maybe Chris, you could call James from your phone, and we can. Let me just see what happens if I press the button and try and add somebody. Can't place a new call while you're already in a call. Well, you let me do that earlier on this week. I'm sure. WhatsApp. How bizarre. We might need to clear the line, Chris. But we do love your input this morning. The peace and tranquility and meeting up in San Martino de Porto sounds fabulous. When are you
coming out?
Hopefully, I'll be there in the next month if all goes well.
Yes, very good. Okay. Well, that's quite a long way away by our usual standards. Calls are coming through, Chris, that people can hear the busy signal and they're reporting as such. Before you go, though, the Tao of Chris, warm beer is the path to enlightenment. So you've made your impact on the biggest phone in Europe. You'll get a second sticker to go along with your first one when you called in earlier this week. So thanks, Chris. Have a lovely weekend, Mon fils Samana.
Take care.
All right, lovely
ciao, ciao.
See you later, mate. All right, we're making. Bye. You could actually stay there because I can actually add a participant. I've seen how to do that. Whether or not he is still there, I don't know. But we'll add Mr. We'll add Mr. X to the call now and see if he'll pick up with us now. Are you still there, Chris? No, he's gone. He's put the phone down. He's got to go back to work.
And we're back like Billy No Mates again.
We are, aren't we? Can't get through. I had questions. Ooh,
come on, phone us one more time.
All right, we're trying Mr. X first though, because and now it won't let me make a call. Do you know what? I might have to invest in some software here, mightn't I?
Yeah.
Because it's not working especially.
Well. Owen's trying to call us as well.
Oh, maybe that's it. Can't place a new call while you're. I'm not already in a new call, but we can now go to.
Let's get some proper technology.
You're through. You're through to the Good Morning Portugal show and the biggest phone in Europe caller. Who's that laughing?
Well,
we recognise that laugh. How are you doing?
I just want to say that if I wanted to maintain my anonymity, I wouldn't have said I can't get through on the chat.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people who can't get through, so you could be hidden in the crowd.
Yes. Well, I'm thrilled to be a part of the day that there were so many callers. You just couldn't handle them all.
Okay, that's true. That's so true. It broke. You were all broke the show this morning. We're going to take this as a sign of success. What's on your mind then, James? Crabs of baskets and boiled frogs. Mode. Yeah, and airplane mode. I know. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was going to call initially just to say that Slug was racing to get to a phone and he hoped to call in soon.
Yeah, you have to start. Well, how early in the morning does a slug have to race to get to the phone to answer it? About 5:30?
About a week ago.
Right, okay, yes, of course. Christmas. Start thinking about that on Christmas Day. And what's on your mind today? Because I think looking at the comments, there are a few things that you were engaging on.
Yes, well, the thing that continues, the one thing in my life, so I'm so grateful for this. The one thing in my life that continues to just gnaw at me I've talked with Louisa here, my family, about the term being a thorn in the side. And so she calls herself a prick. So it's pretty funny.
Thank you for that contribution.
I love that.
I explained the whole, what the concept was, and I said, well, so, prick, thorn, all that stuff. And she said, okay, so I'll just be a prick. I said, well, usually you apply that to somebody else, but you can call yourself one. So we have a good laugh over that one. Anyway,
Sorry. That was good. That was accidentally good timing.
Yeah, it's perfect timing. The thorn in my side is this whole driver's license thing. It's driving me batty, and it's different than Thunder's challenge. And I really love the idea, and I have no idea how to go about it. Getting a large group of over 60 immigrants who are trying to get their licenses.
Yeah, it needs doing, definitely.
What I have discovered in the process of trying to get this all figured out is that either the term apostille means something different in Portugal than it does in California, or IT is requiring something that's not legally possible to obtain for someone from California.
Yeah.
So either way, without trying to figure out how to work around the stated requirements, there's no legal way for a Californian anyway to get this done. So the move, I think, to allow people to just use their existing licenses was because so many people were complaining about what a pain in the rear end it was that they said, oh, maybe we could do this and we'll just take everyone's license.
Yeah.
That was pretty straightforward with these conditions. And then they had to add the one, unless you're over 60, which makes no sense to me on any level other than the medical, which, as you said, all they have to do is add that.
Yeah.
To say, okay, we'll accept your license if you go get a medical exam.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that? So as you can see, I'm pretty agitated about this. It's been months. I've been working on this since April, just trying to figure out how to get my paperwork submitted.
Okay.
So, so anyway, I just needed to vent all that and make my one and only in my truly blessed life.
Thank you so much. And thank you for framing it in that way. That's really cool. Joao, you need to turn down your volume of listening to the show, because Joao is through. He's a professional driver and may have one or two things to say on this matter. Stay where you are then, caller X. We now know who you are. Caller Y, you're through to the Good Morning Portugal show and the biggest phone in Europe. Good morning, Europe. How are you this morning? Come on. Look, you don't mess it up. You're through to the biggest phone in Europe. Or have you got shy? Your initials are JM, so I don't ruin your anonymity.
It's almost like he's bum called you. You know where someone sits on their phone.
So we've had that kind of yoga this morning, and now we're getting bum calls.
Yeah, like where someone sits on their phone and it auto dials.
All right, I think he has called us accidentally. Now this could be interesting. So should we stay with this and see what happens?
No, let's not, because that's terrible.
Well, in case he lets out a big
fart,
guff or something like that.
I mean,
if he's bum called us, that could be really hilarious or horrible.
Well, we might hear something we're not meant to.
Okay, all right. So we'll try us again, please. JM, I'll keep your anonymity at that particular level. Some will have been able to figure that out. Pete has sent a picture of his stork.
Oh my goodness, it's going from bad to worse.
No, you misunderstand.
There it is. I love this stork.
Okay, it's James is still with us, which is fantastic.
Stay with us, James.
It rang briefly, didn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing was I didn't have WhatsApp opened on my desktop, which wasn't helping. Okay, so caller
JM is calling back again.
Yeah, you're through. Do you want to talk about the strike legislation that I think you may have mentioned earlier on in the chat? I think he's just messing about. Now, we can really do without this on Europe's biggest phone-in. People pranking us like this.
This is so much fun.
We've got important calls to take here, and someone's just keeps...
Oh,
okay, another call coming in.
Hello.
James.
This is why they have engineers on real...
Please, callers of Europe, one at a time.
Okay, so caller X, if you could just sit and listen just for a sec, because we've got
nice facilitation.
Yeah, we've got a new caller here who you may well recognise the voice of.
You're through, caller.
Yes. What did you call them yesterday?
From the north of Portugal.
Yes, from the north of Portugal. We're listening.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Yeah, really well. How are you?
I don't know who this is.
I recognise that voice.
All right. Philomena Friday.
May we reveal your identity?
It's Feelgood Friday.
Whoa!
Hey, Owen. How you doing?
What have we got for us today?
I'm doing really, really well. Apart from when I sent the message regarding the solar flare, I actually woke up to an alert on my phone regarding the solar flare, which is quite strange, really.
Wow.
So that's why I asked the question earlier on. You see.
Okay.
It's on you, like, is that because you've got a particular program on your phone, or there was just an alert, that was unsolicited?
It was actually, well, an alert. It was a message from a friend that follows this kind of thing.
Yeah, I
So
see.
it was-
Right.
I used to follow him years ago. I used to follow this guy called Mitch Batros, who used to talk about it. Really,
I remember him.
yeah. You used
I
to
used to
call
him
him
Butch Mattress, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Butch
So,
Mattress. Is he still about? Is he still doing
yes,
his thing?
I believe I believe he does still do it.
Right.
Yeah, these are really sort of tense times. How's it feeling up in the north?
Is that a metaphor?
It's it's beautiful. We're on our fifth day of beautiful sunshine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be taking a walk down by the Lima, and I've got my fishing rod ready this morning because
Rod
I'm
in
going
hand.
to drop my GoPro in the water.
What?
See what's under
That
the
sounds
surface
naughty.
and try and find. I'm going to try and find the beavers, the otter set. That's through you saying beavers in the morning, Carl.
He's got his rod in hand and he's searching for beavers along the River Lima.
Yeah.
Be careful out there.
I will.
Oh, that sounds lovely. So you're going to put a GoPro. You're not fishing for fish. You're getting the GoPro camera on the end of the fishing line, and
That's it.
So you might see the inside of a welly boot later on.
You might see a fish, like a curious fish or something. I don't know if there will be. Have you ever done that before?
I haven't. It's the first time I've done it. I'm just curious to find out where these otters are. I mean, I'm quite certain of the spot where I took the photographs of because there's a lot of vegetation around that they're there. So I just want to make sure that they are there, and then I can get up early one morning and try and catch them early spring when hopefully they've got some young and try and take some videos.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
How long have you been doing this kind of thing? Because I've known that you've taken great photos of the skies, in particular the night sky. But like, when did you get feel the draw to sort of narrate nature?
Ooh, Lloyd on the Lima.
Well, I've always been a fan of the nature, but I think it's since discovering the lovely walk into town and wanting to be back in nature again, because I've kind of kept myself locked up of late over the last few years, and being back in nature has done me the world of good, me and my mindset. So just having the camera really, and with the otters, I was literally just had the focus of taking the photographs of the cormorants and the different herons and the wild and the water birds that are here. But literally, when I saw the otters and noticed that where they were, and I just thought, well, why not document them and just see if I can follow them, because I'm sure there will be a pair there.
Yeah.
And let's hope they do have some young, and I can just follow their story. It's just something to keep me connected, me connected to nature.
Yeah, that's so good to hear, Owen. And I think there may be other people who want to follow in your footsteps there. And we've got your picture of the otter up on the screen as we're talking to you on the biggest phone in Europe. And I think you're fast becoming the biggest documenter of the River Lima. So please keep sending those pictures in, and we love it. The collection that we've got that you've given to us to put on the blog, Flow Be Like Water, which sounds like it resonates with your journey at the moment as well, as a very sensitive Cancerian in this full moon of Cancer at the moment.
I certainly will do. I intend to do that. Maybe I could send things in from time to time to share with everybody, because it's absolutely beautiful, especially with the weather that we're having over these next few days. I'm saying that cautiously because I'm sure there's some rain on the forecast, but as the weather stays as nice as it is, I'll get out in nature as much as I can and try and share it with you all.
Yeah.
Oh,
superb.
that's fantastic.
Okay, Penny's saying hi in the chat, and I hope Owen has the right weight of line and doesn't lose his GoPro. I think a lot of people were thinking that. A friend of mine did that. So you've got to be careful not to get snagged, haven't you?
Practicing it in your home before you do it outside?
I have the perfect equipment because I'm using my fly fishing equipment. It's quite strong backing line that I have, so it's that I'm using. And hi to everybody. Hi to for Victoria and Perry.
Victoria as well. Yeah.
And Fiona, thank you.
And Raphael, all the ladies in the house say hi to Owen there this morning. And we're supposed to get rain up here in the north. Oh, we just lost James. Sorry about that, James. Okay, I was going to come to James there.
Sorry, James.
He likes a walk in the countryside. We're supposed to get rain up here in the north starting either later today or tomorrow. Thank you for that weather forecast for the north of Portugal there, Raphael. At 5 minutes past 10. Owen, was there anything else you wanted to share with us?
Not until it begins to happen, Carl.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's exciting.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I will say on that, it's just some very exciting things going to happen with my food this year. And I have a meeting on the 16th of January to discuss the next move. And it's a bit of fusion between West Indian food and Portuguese food, but that's as far as I'll go.
All right, but we are going to give you some a sprinkling of a gratitudinous gumper dust here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, take that with you for the weekend and enjoy it, and don't use it all at once. Go in, have a great weekend. Bon fin de semana.
Yeah, bon fin de semana.
Have a fantastic weekend, you both, and everybody else. Take care, guys.
Thank you. You will get your sticker. I was on the biggest phone in Europe later on today, my friend.
Thank you.
Can't wait, right? Bye,
ciao, ciao.
bye. There he goes. You see, it makes people's day, Mrs. M. I know you don't like the cheesy humour, but can you imagine showing that to your kids and your
one day,
grandkids?
like a Blue Peter badge.
Exactly, and I'm glad you chose that particular accolade from my childhood. Otters in Portugal.
Well, rather than Jim will fix it.
Otters in Portugal began to increase in numbers in the last decade when the quality of the rivers water improved.
Wow.
And they can be seen all over Portugal, but especially in the north. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, that is
Thank
lovely.
you. Hey, James, who got the hump and left us, I think. I have an he's probably gone to start this over 60s lobby group. I think it's a great idea. I really do. It's a really good idea. I have an over 60s pal from California who just succeeded in getting his Portuguese license. So there is hope. It is happening there, James. But maybe it would be a good idea to have this lobby group happening. Look, I don't like the sound of this. He had questions, and they're just hanging there now, aren't they? Unresolved. But that is possibly what happens in a Cancerian full moon, unresolved issues, right? And a little bit of retrograde action going on there. Lord Gilchrist, if you're still there, do call now, or forever hold your peace, which he probably quite likes the sound of that. He will be holding his peace later on.
Oh my goodness, what a naughty show this is.
Really, and you are a major part of that naughtiness. Don't try and pretend you're not. The Man Cave is happening tonight, and sorry for any comments that I missed. We will go to the last couple of dad jokes now as we wish you a bon fin de semana and have a great weekend. We didn't even touch on the three.
That's absolutely fine.
Do you think so? I'm a bit disappointed.
No. I think this whole day was about feeling the ease and easing. Going with the flow and starting the weekend with a really nice feeling. So I think we've done that beautifully.
I will put the link to that blog in case anybody wants it, and I will make a separate video on the 3 stages to successful migration. And I know a lot of you are saying, yeah, whatever, Carl, we're already here, we don't care about that. But there might be something useful in there for you, and that is in the chat now. So these last couple of dad jokes then I can take Lord Gilchrist comment, or it's really a complaint.
Someone's calling.
Let's see, and then we'll do this in the right way. It's this other caller who we've struggled to connect with, so let's see if we can connect now. Are you there, caller? Is it working this time?
Bon dia, Carl.
Bon dia. We are through to a caller. Would you like to say where you are, if not who you are?
Yes. It's João.
It's João Mendonça. How are you? Bon dia, tudo bem?
The one and only.
The one and only. Yes.
How are you?
Yeah, how's life in the UK at the moment?
Where in the UK are you, João?
Crystal Palace, round the corner.
Crystal Palace, not far from
and
where
how's
Mrs.
things
M comes from.
How's things in Crystal Palace these days?
The old Blighty.
It's a nice sunny day. We're going to get a high of 13, I presume, by the looks of it. But yeah, all sorts of things are happening, Carl.
Go on.
I mean, I've lived in, for example, I've lived in the UK for over 50 years, yeah?
50?
And it's never Yeah, it's never been this bad.
Really? Okay.
Really?
Well, this is a sad note to end on Feel Good Friday. So tell us more. I mean, it'd be good maybe for you to get this off your chest and have a chat.
Well, that's what I was trying to say to you. My sister, for Christmas, she bought me that How Britain Ends by Gavin Asler, which was one of the guys I used to drive at the Beeb once upon a time.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack in just that one sentence there. You're a professional driver.
Yeah.
You've driven some top stars in your time. You mentioned Gavin Esler there, and he's written a book with a cheerful title, "How Britain Ends." Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's correct.
Is it clickbait or is it a serious contender for the demise of I suppose the British Empire, right? And post Brexit Britain.
Yeah, well, underneath it says English nationalism and the rebirth of 4 nations. Whatever that means. So is that Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, England?
Yes, it would look like sovereignty, wouldn't it, for the nations of the United Kingdom, and a return to England as a smaller separate state. That needn't be a bad thing. That would be seen as a loss by some people and a change to the status quo. But how are you seeing it?
That's why, like I just said, been over here for over 50 years.
Yeah.
And just gazing through a couple of the pages, it has made sense.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's I don't know. You were saying that you were going to try and see if you can get an audio book.
Yes.
Or something?
Yeah. I have to say, I'm not as I'm fascinated, but not attracted to reading it, because I sense a real sad tone in your voice about what's going on in the UK. You say you've been there for 50 years. You're Portuguese origin, aren't you? João Mendonça is a giveaway, and I know you love the UK from our previous conversations. You absolutely love you've loved living in England, haven't you? And you've loved the UK, and you've loved your work over there. And I do really pick up a sense of sadness and uncertainty in your voice. Do you want to say more about that?
Well, I think it's a lot to do with the post Brexit, the Corona, now the war, and all these strikes that are bringing this country down. I mean, you've got nurses' strikes, you got the rail strike, you got the bus strike, postmen, everyone's piling in. You know, it's like it was never heard of this. You never heard of this. Britain being in such a state, should I say?
No, I understand. And what's your?
And it's like,
go on. Sorry.
Well, my taking is, I mean, I'm gonna turn 65 this March. So in a year's time, I've been safely told that I can draw my pension then.
Yeah.
So I've got more or less than a year and a half away, and I'm just thinking, is it time to move on? To go back to Madeira, the place that I often visit, but it's not any better there, is it, in Portugal? I take it as well, because politics just pure shambles there.
Interesting view, interesting point of view for sure. And I don't blame you for having that view. That if you look at it through the political lens, there's certainly a lot of evidence you could find that things aren't working especially well. And I have to say, I am sad to hear that is, you know, the trajectory of your working life and how you're putting it there. What I would say to you as a man approaching 65, thinking about you know, being able to draw his pension and maybe going back to Madeira. I thought
you said 55.
Did you say 55 or 65?
65.
Oh,
65. He sounds like a spring chicken.
I took a decade off you. There you go.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Joel. But you know what? We need elders now, don't we? Arguably, in a time of great unrest like this, as you've portrayed, and you know, you extrapolate that or make the association with the end of an era for a particular country. What really gave me a lot of hope recently with this talk of the fourth turning is after a crisis comes a high. You know, we don't necessarily need to see it, do we, as a linear matter that is just being driven into the ground, into destruction and disintegration. If we see it as a cycle, you know, the darkest times are before the dawn. And before a high, before a good time in society, which I'm sure you've enjoyed, you know, pre 80s, you know, when you were growing up, you have very fond memories, as I recall, from us being a young man in UK and England. That could return.
Yeah, 80s, 90s. Yeah.
But it's not going to come back without good fellas like yourself saying, here's a vision for the future. And, you know, I know you're a passionate man. You're a Portuguese man at heart, aren't you, in your genes? And I think we need the passion for the future, a vision for the future, that the kids who are born in the last 20, 30 years may not even have that. Or, you know, I'm sure they'll have their own version of it. But I think it's really important for the old giffers and for the people coming up to retirement, in a sense, not to retire and to lead the way into much better times. And I've put your name down for it.
I mean, I've got, as you know, I'm from Madeira. Well, that's where I was born.
Yeah.
In Funchal, and I've got a few mates that moved over there. When did they move over there? Mid-90s, and they settled down. They're British, you know. They live up there. The kids grew up there, and their kids have moved to the UK, up north, actually.
Amazing, isn't it?
Manchester, somewhere. Yeah. It's amazing how they grew up in Madeira. Actually, a couple of the kids, they actually became part of some football academy, Marítimo, of Madeira, you know, the football team that we've got from the island.
Yeah.
And it never developed, and they thought they'd give it a try in UK, and they've just settled down here.
Superb.
But the parents, like my mate and his wife, but both couples that I know, they both settled down there, and they do well.
Yeah.
They've always said to me, you know, every time I go, and they said, I keep telling you this year in, year out, that you come here and it's time that you came back and settled down, because it's got nothing to offer you. The UK has got nothing to offer you anymore. It didn't have for us, and that was 20 odd years ago. So I can't understand why you're still there.
Well, I can understand that. And I do find it difficult to compute why somebody would move from Madeira to Manchester, but no disrespect to people of Manchester. I hear you, João. I mean, thank you for ringing in. I really appreciate it this morning, calling into Europe's biggest phone in. And that is a big European issue, isn't it? You know, post-Brexit, what's happened in the UK in the last few decades. Penny says, we're not far off the new 20-year rebirth. So I hope you know, you do manage to cultivate a sense of optimism for the future. Whilst you know, I'm not trying to. What's the word?
You're not trying to tell him to turn his smile upside down, are you?
No. I mean, I hear you. I hear your grief almost for the UK and what appear. You know, according to Gavin Esler's book, How Britain Ends. I understand that. I totally get that, and I wouldn't want to try and sugarcoat any realities of that kind. And at the same time, you sound like you have a lovely offer, friends beckoning you back from the UK, which has its challenges at the moment, to paradise in Madeira, isn't it? Is there something, some trepidation about making that sort of transition?
Yeah, that's what I've always. Well, for example, the longest I think during 2003 when Dad passed away.
Yeah.
I think it was probably the longest I've ever spent in the island, 4 months. And it's kind of contrary, you being there on a time, on a holiday or visiting, and when you actually living there, it's kind of different.
Yeah,
something that I'm kind of weary of.
Yeah,
Am I going to fit in?
Yeah. I mean, it does. Yeah, when you put it like that, mate, it sounds awful.
You always have doubt.
Yeah, and you know, getting up in paradise, eating fresh fruit, maybe having a coffee and a few beers with your mates, and then swimming in the sea and eating delicious food.
Do you know what I really heard there was, you know, how am I going to fit in, or will I fit in?
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining as a native Portuguese person to return back home and to not fit in would be quite, or could be quite disastrous, in a way that British people moving over to Portugal probably already understand they'll never fit in. They'll never be Portuguese, but they can fit in as best they can. So I can understand that.
Yeah,
you are between worlds. Like we've lived
the pace as well.
Yeah,
it's the pace of UK compared to I don't know Lisbon, but still it's that manana thing. Madeira is leave it for tomorrow or next week.
This is such a
kind
thing.
Of slow.
No, I get it, Joel. We worked with a Greek guy. You have your expats who leave their country of origin, and in some ways have nothing good to say about it. I mean, they like the culture, the food in the abstract, but they're very critical of the pace or the laziness or those sorts of things. And this guy, he was always bashing Greece, wasn't he? He loved being in the UK because his entrepreneurial sensibilities and his love of life and being busy all the time was perfectly served in the UK. He could start businesses without too much trouble. He could work all the hours God sent, and he was that kind of guy. And he was always criticizing his country folk back in Greece. And I do understand that. But we've got Fiona here saying, "Don't fear change. Well, look at how much has changed in your lifetime, and realize sometimes radical change is needed for the greater good." That's quite a thought. Does that bring you any comfort?
Yes, thank you.
Also, we've got a comment from Penny saying, "Come to Devon. We're slower paced here than the rest of the UK, but not quite Penny. Portugal paced pace."
Yeah, I remember Penny from the old.
From the wine club. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. And
another reference to Penny at the wine club.
Absolutely. Sorry about that, Penny. I left the US because it no longer fit in with my life. It no longer fit my life, says James, I believe. Sorry, James, we left you hanging on the call there. I believe many of the US immigrants in this community feel the same. How can we help, Joel? I'm so glad you called this morning, and you position or share with us a very interesting predicament, and we're all about helping people move to Portugal. And yours is a particular case, isn't it, of being of Portuguese origin, and I know you're fascinated by how us Brits and expats and Americans love Portugal. You have a different view, and you clearly you have your reservations, don't you? How can we help?
I don't know. I think at a later date we'll have to chat a bit more. I think I should give someone else a chance to come online. I've actually posted you a couple of pictures because I was over to visit my mum, to give you an idea. What she lives actually in the middle of town, which is like 2 streets, and you're in the seafront, so you'll get a view of the harbour. 2 pictures I posted of Madeira from recently, and one from a couple of weeks before Christmas when I got back and we had some snow, and it was interesting. Beautiful. I did a video with some birds on the trees.
Snow. Is this snow? This is snow in the UK. This is snow in the UK, but the shots are from Shell from your mum.
I really love your comment. You said hopefully you and Mrs. M will eventually go there.
We'd love to go to Madeira.
Love to go to Madeira.
I've told Colm that.
Would that help, Joel? Would that help if we came with you?
I doubt it.
If that's a no,
you've made yourself blush, Carl.
We'll take that as a no, because I was like, how do I let him down gently?
It'd be great. Thanks, Carl. It'd be great, at least for you to experience our poncha, which is non-existent in Lisbon.
Yeah.
And the Coral beer, which doesn't exist in Portugal.
Okay, we're coming.
Madeira made brew.
Yeah, we're coming. We're coming with you. I heard Joel say it's never been this bad in the UK. Perhaps it had to get there to allow everyone to let the light in to what is really needed there. I think there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there? Things are cyclical for sure. No country has ever gone in a positive straight line forever, has it? We do have our cycles. in life, you know, at every level. And societies are no different. And that's not to say that it's not difficult and hard and horrible for people in those times, but that might be some sort of consolation with your erudite words there, Fiona. Joao, I'm not sure if we can help or not. I mean, the invitation is there, and I hope you will call us again whenever you feel moved to, because it's been, you know, despite the predicament you're talking about, it's been really lovely talking to you, and I think a lot of other people have sensed and heard that with you calling in. So please don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bom fim de semana.
Before you go though, mate, who's been the best celeb you've ever driven in your work, in your driving career in the UK?
Once, biggest. Okay, he did the movie of Batman here in the UK.
Christian Slater, is it?
Bale.
Christian Bale.
No. Which one? He's got long blonde hair. Oh, I can't remember.
He did Batman.
Yeah, he did Batman.
Who's that then? Somebody will tell us in just a moment. But what was good about this? What was this good about this particular celeb and ride?
I basically I never drove. Well, I've driven so many people, but I think he was the biggest star at the time.
Ah, the biggest star. Okay. Who was the nicest?
The nicest person I've ever driven. I would say Clive James. He had a good sense of humour.
Wow, the great legend, Clive James. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah. He was fantastic. I knew him for quite a while.
Cool. And what, like he was on telly, he would be like that in the back of the car as well?
Yes, and it was amazing how he could speak like 7-8 languages, Chinese, Russian. I mean, unreal.
Fantastic. Legend. Not unlike yourself, Joao. It's been so nice of you to call this morning. We had a few. I mean, you stayed the course and you eventually got through, and we were able to talk. Love Clive James. You've got that in common with Penny. If not the politics, then the celebrity connection there with the love of Clive James. Yeah, he an incredible man. The likes of which we probably won't see again. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but he was a proper celeb and really smart guy. Thank you so much, Wow. Thanks again for calling in. Did I mention it's Europe's biggest phone-in?
This is Europe's nicest phone-in.
Europe's nicest phone-in. And look,
a chamada maior da Europa.
Very good, nice one. Look at this. You know what? You know you've got to go when you're doing a show when actually the people watching say they've got to go. All right, so
time. We've been at this for almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
now.
And you know who doesn't like to go at it for 2 hours first thing in the morning? But I've got some before you go, Joao. I've got a sprinkling of Gumper dust for you. Take this, my friend. And do very much what you will. That's our love to you. Keep your chin up, mate. In the UK, darkness before the dawn, and all that, and the cycles. And you know, there's a cold beer waiting for you on the Silver Coast as well in Portugal.
Obrigado. Can I just say? Can I call you Geezer?
Yeah.
Of course you can call me Geezer. Yes,
you haven't heard that for ages, have you?
I haven't.
It's been a while.
Well, let's do it. Should we do it properly? Laters, Geezer.
Laters, mate.
See you, buddy. All the best, mate. Bye for now. Thank you so much for calling.
Love you both.
All right, great show. Bye. Says OLP. Ciao. Oh, right.
We got to take this.
Let's get. I think before he starts, this is a clue. I'm going to give him the horn.
Woohoo!
Hold on. Stay where you are, listener. There you go. Who's calling?
Hello.
Hello.
Is somebody there?
How are you?
We know that voice.
Yes,
Good.
we definitely know
How are
that
you
voice.
guys?
Oh, so
really
good.
well.
Yeah, we were going to go, and now you've turned up.
Yeah, we've got to stay for a bit now. What are you up to today? And what exciting plans have you got?
You know, I just actually was taking a little bit of break from work, and I saw you guys were on super long, so I thought, you know what? I may as well keep you guys going. And make this Friday the first full day episode of Good Morning Portugal. So become good evening, good night,
good
and
day.
Good morning Saturday.
That sounds like quite an adventure. But you know, we might get social services over, like wondering like who's looking after our kids.
Yes.
This is a problem you guys can deal with later. You don't have to worry about these things now.
So what do you think of all you? Thank you so much for calling in, Raphael, the
Of
Globetrotter,
course.
legendary YouTuber. Do check him out
Oh.
and subscribe to his channel as well. We've been talking about this morning. The awakening, the unraveling, the crisis, which some say we are in at the moment. I would agree with that. And a high is to come. How do you square that with your global movements? And would you agree that we're in a major churn at the moment in various societies around the world and our collective consciousness?
Well, it's actually funny enough. I've thought about this topic, and in some ways I would say yes, but some ways I would say no. Like, it may sound a bit odd to even think that no, but think about newspaper clippings that you've seen from like the early 1900s, the mid 1900s, early 2000s. Oh, big life-changing event. Oh, this big change.
Yeah, and it never happens.
Look at this mind-shifting, global shifting spiritual event here. So we're always in a changing growth spurt. But if things are going at a much more rapid pace than they have ever gone, that's something that I would say there's potential for.
So it's that
we're in continuous change. Is that what you're saying, Raphael?
Intensity. I think we've got an increased intensity, perhaps.
Yeah, perpetual change, perpetual continuation of change and growth, or not even necessarily growth, sometimes reverting to different mindsets. But yeah, if it's sped up a bit, then that's, I think, definitely a possibility at this moment in time. It sure feels like it with how many things are going on.
Yeah, so true.
It really does.
I've been intrigued by your most recent video titles, which I haven't seen. Remind us what that last one was, because it's very intriguing. Your last offering on YouTube.
Oh, you know what? You've definitely caught me off here, because even I don't remember. Sometimes I'll tell you. Here, I'll tell you like this. I used to work in television.
Did you?
And my friends would ask me, and they would say, "Oh, what was in the news this week? What happened? What was going on?" I was like, "Oh, you think I know? I'm just the guy making the news.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy working on this." But new year, new country. That one,
come on. New year, new country. That's going to get people clicking on to find out more. What's going? Can you say anything?
Country?
I mean, we don't want to steal the thunder of the YouTube there, and your latest edition. Yeah, he's worked in television. He's not going to give that away.
Are you on the move?
What's going on? Come on, spill the beans, Raphael.
Yeah, so that one, because sometimes, look, honestly, like I said, sometimes I even make my videos. I'm like the day after, like, what did I talk about this week? Huh?
Carl's like that every single day.
Like an old man. But that one was specifically about actually the way that I opened up that video is like, so many times we hear about this saying, new year, new me. It was like, no, embrace who you are and maybe think about a new country. Because no, I'm not moving to another country. Gosh, I don't even have that in me. Like I've been 14 years abroad and I don't have another international move after my last one. I still haven't fully recovered from that a year and a month later.
Interesting.
But yeah, sometimes I think it's worthwhile considering what are the various factors that you really need to take into account before moving to another country. And like, it could be language, it could be culture. I mean, sometimes even one of the other points that I mentioned in that video was about how we often are gung-ho and ready to just jump into a new culture, and I'm going to take it on. I'm going to become one of the locals. I'm going to be a real wooden boy, or whatever that thing from Pinocchio was. Whatever he said. I'm going to be a real boy. But then sometimes, and I've seen this not only on myself, but like having talked to so many expats over the years, that sometimes you get there, you get into it, and it's like, oh wait, hold on, this is something that so deeply disagrees with every bit of my essence. And I'm not saying that necessarily is something that, like, it could be an ethical issue, but sometimes some people, for example, might not like bacalhau or whatever simple thing, silly thing at the end of the day. So there's certain things like, do you want to become, maybe in some parts of the world, you have to be a little bit more pushy than what you would have in your home country. I know that in some parts of Southern Europe or even in the Middle East, like puffing out your chest a little bit can be quite necessary at times. I wouldn't say necessarily in Portugal that always is the case, but some parts of the world, like the person who puffs out their chest the most is the one that can end up getting the most done. So is that something that agrees with how you are internally as a person? Kind of that episode gets into a little bit of those topics and some of the fluffy stuff as well.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, yeah. And how do people best find you? What's the easiest way to get through to your YouTube channel?
Easiest way is you can either just type in "Not Your Average Globetrotter" into YouTube or Google. If you type in also Rafael Di Furia on any social media, you should just be able to find me there. But yeah, Not Your Average Globetrotter is probably the easiest. I know my last name can be a little bit complicated sometimes for some people.
Does it literally translate as like Raphael of the Fury?
Literally, yes. I've heard a couple of different ways of translating it. Like, it can mean to do something with like fury, with gusto, like to do something very fast, to do it rapid. But also, like, I've heard it. I don't know about this translation, and to me, it also sounds a little bit off. But one time, someone said it can mean like with passion, with furious passion.
Yes.
Like in both either a more romantic sense or a more furious sense.
It's a great chat-up line, though, isn't it?
Literally translated, it's Raphael of Fury.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we're glad to have stayed the better side of you this morning. And
baby.
I'm hoping
that's such a good voice.
Look at this. You're getting invited to a beer in Braga soon. How about that?
So
that's pretty good, isn't it? Come on onto the Europe's biggest phone in, and your social life gets sorted out as well, everybody. So bear that in mind. You too will be getting a sticker. Well, I'm glad we of your celebrity endorsement, which is how I'm going to take it this morning. And
you've added a touch of glamour. Thank you. No disrespect to everyone else, but
every time we talk, I always guilt you and shame you that you have not come up here to Braga yet.
Yes.
Do you know what?
I'm going to
do that now.
And even you were in Porto recently, and I was so offended when I saw that my good buddy didn't make it just that extra 30 minutes all the way to Braga. I couldn't believe it.
There it is. There's the guilt and the shame. Now, the good news is this coach that goes from the end of our street basically to Porto does carry on to Guimarães and Braga, doesn't it? And so we can do that.
Now I feel even worse.
Yes.
Yes, you could have gone the whole way.
There's the fury. There's the fury right there. So we will do it this year. We will head to that.
We're planning on coming up north in the next month or two.
Okay,
and you will definitely be on the list.
All right, and Owen's on his way as well to drink beer with you. So have a great weekend. I'm hoping we'll do a full-length interview and chat with you at some point, which would be great fun. Probably in the evening would work best, wouldn't it? So we look forward to hooking up with you for a bit of a Good Morning Portugal and Not Your Average Globetrotter special.
Definitely.
And look at him, he's multitasking. Look at him. He's saying he's agreeing to beers whilst having a chat with us. That's amazing. Unless he's got
gotta
a team.
have your priorities straight in line.
Do.
Yeah. Mention of beer, and he completely lost interest in talking to us. Okay.
No.
Raphael.
But I'm actually setting up a recording space, and so it's going to be great to have you guys up here and be some of the first people to break the space in.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And we can see all of Raphael's really amazing technology.
What do you mean you're setting up a recording? So you're setting up a studio for interviewing people?
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
You're setting up a studio to interview people? Because you've already got a studio, haven't you?
Well, the thing is, it's like, I'll let you behind the curtain a little bit.
Let's go.
I downsized here in Portugal. I used to have separate office, separate living space, separate everything. Here in Portugal, half of my living space where my bed is office, and half of it is sleeping space. And so, that's kind of, so that's that main office space that you've seen, that office studio. And so I'm putting something else together and working on some other projects in the background, and not necessarily this recording space is not necessarily Not Your Average Globetrotter related, but it is. But it's not.
He's a tease, isn't he? He's a tease. Well,
I love that.
Okay, Owen, when you have a beer with him, get the facts. catch him when he's a little bit, when he's got a beer in him, and find out what's going on there, if you will. Raphael, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. We were just about to go, but it's been a delight to stick around and talk to you for a bit longer. And have a wonderful weekend up there in the north. And be careful with the weather. I think you said earlier on there's some bad weather coming in.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like today is a 30% chance and tomorrow's like 100% chance.
Owen, be careful with your
hope
beaver
you guys
hunt.
stay dry down in San Martin de Porto and stay safe and healthy over there.
Okay,
Will
mate.
do.
All right, nice round of applause
Lots of
for
love.
you. Take care.
All right, have a great
All right,
one.
ciao, ciao. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Bon fin semana. Ciao, ciao. There he goes, Rafa.
Ciao.
How about that? Isn't that
That's
cool?
amazing.
Isn't that cool? We've had a lineup. It's been this morning.
He's got such a great voice.
Hasn't
I
he
love
just?
his voice.
This is Rafael de
He's
Furia,
so
not your
good,
average
yeah.
globetrotter there. Okay. You see, I could do Antonio Banderas. I could do Rafael de Furia as well.
Wow.
Have a great weekend, everybody. And we're going to play you our theme tune and wish you a bon fin semana. And we'll see you next Monday for some mindful migration. James won't have to call in. He is our guest of honor from 9. Look, and you, everyone's going to get a sticker. This is nom de plumes from yesterday.
Is that a hijab?
It's a burqa.
A burqa.
That she's got on there. Yeah. And so everyone who called in today will get one of those. And if you want to join us from 9:30 on Monday, you too will get one of those as well. Have a superb weekend. I'm right up for it now. I'm totally in the mood for a great weekend. It's been lovely working with you this morning, Mrs. M.
Oh, I've had so much fun.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed having people call in. It's so much more fun, isn't it?
You see, they said Europe's biggest phone in. What's he talking about? I think we got a little taste of it this morning. Ciao, ciao, everybody.
Yeah,
Bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.